I'm Norbert Putnam, and I've just had my 40th birthday for the 31st time. And I began in music at the age of 15, playing with some local musicians. That morphed into being a studio guy at the age of 19, when Rick Hall started his studio. And I came to Nashville 5 years later and became one of the most prominent bassists from 1965 up until 70. At that point in time, David Briggs and I get in the studio business. We build a studio. I start to produce records. For the rest of my career, I'm a record producer. Dave and I had a publishing company that became one of Nashville's top publishing companies. Well, it was a pretty interesting beginning for me because I never planned to be a musician. I became a musician because of Elvis Presley. Some kids in my neighborhood, David Briggs, one of them, okay, were putting together a band to play the Sun Records catalog, which was Elvis, Carl Perkins, Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, Charlie Rich. And as one of the musicians said, Norbert, you need to be the bass player because no one else in school has one. And so I went to my father and I said, I think I want to learn to play the bass. He said, well, just as soon I'd do that. I said, well, why not? He said, well, I tried that when I was young, and I could never make any money doing that, and I just would hate to see you waste your time. I want you to go to college, get an MBA, and let's start an insurance agency together. My father was in the insurance business. And so I would come home from school every day, and I had my Elvis and Scotty and Bill stuff, which is just guitar and bass, and Bill's slapping the boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom. He's doing all this kind of stuff. So I beat all kinds of blisters into my fingers doing that. And we played a couple of sock hops, they call them in those days. And I know we couldn't have been very good at this, But the effect that we had on the audience was unbelievable. They went crazy when they heard this Presley music, And it's really a funny thing, because I'm 15 years old. Go ahead, 13 years. I'm 28 years old. I'm walking in the studio with the real Elvis Presley. But a year later, the Beatles come to prominence, and they invite us to come to Washington to open their first concert. So that Muscle Shoals rhythm section in February of '64. We were so excited about going up there because we would be backing up the Righteous Brothers. The reason we buy music and the reason we listen to it, it's not for the music and it's not for the lyrical content. It's the emotion that comes out of that vocal, okay? And both Ray Charles and Elvis Presley were totally uninhibited when it came to giving you that, Well, it's easy to understand that in a city the size of Memphis, Detroit, Philadelphia, New Orleans, that you could find 5 or 6 great musicians who could make records. But in Muscle Shoals, this tiny little area of 30,000 people, the fact that we were able to find 5 or 6 good musicians who could make records was probably a miracle. I think the magical thing about our era of music was the emotion that would swell up in the room, and it was like you had a room full of geniuses thinking about your song and applying the best talent they had towards it.